It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Caleb, Gill Drew, Nelson here. We are a quarter of the way through the NFL season, and yeah, pretty much a quarter-way point. I mean, it's not mathematically technically correct because there is a 17th game, but I look at it as like 4, 4, 4, 5 is kind of how I break down, because I feel like those final 5 games should all just be kind of bunched together because they just all kind of mean more once you get past like November or Thanksgiving. So that's kind of how I look at the season. But technically speaking, we'll get the technical quarter-way point like after the 1 o'clock games in week 5. And that's actually what we're discussing today. If you want to listen to my thoughts, at least on week 4, go check out the Monday morning drive from this week. But Drew and I are without Dylan and Cam. So we'll get through this. Honestly, though, playoff baseball is a little bit more important than potting, I guess.
Gotta watch the Reds get destroyed by the Dodgers.
Yeah. And who are the Red Sox playing?
Playing the Yankees.
Oh, that's right.
That's a big one. But,
right.
I think they were winning, surprisingly.
Well, let's jump into this Week 5 recap. We'll start with the Thursday Night Football game, which is 49ers in LA taking on the Rams. The Rams, 5.5-point favorites at home. 49ers just coming off their first loss of the season. Rams look good. They were able to hand the Colts their first loss. And with the Rams, when that offense gets going and they're clicking, you have Puka Nacua going off. He had a career high last week. When Devontae Adams is getting in the mix, Kyron Williams, that Rams offense really looks unstoppable at times when they're moving. And I think in this one, because especially with it being on a short week and the 49ers having to, it's not much of a travel. It's down the road, but still short week, little different. And the health of Brock Purdy and just the 49ers in general, I can understand why the Rams are 5.5-point favorites in this game.
Yeah, I think, the Rams look good against the Eagles. Obviously, they ended up choking the game away. But still, they look good. They played a Colts team who's been really good up to this point. Even though they lost against the Rams, they're still a solid team. So, and they're A.D. Mitchell bonehead play away from maybe beating the Rams.
Mistakes.
Yeah.
So because of him, they had 2 touchdowns called back.
The Rams obviously are a beatable team. They're not some powerhouse, but they have been one of the better teams in the league so far. They've shown flashes of being a really good team. And so I like them a lot better than the Niners. The Niners are going through a lot of things right now. Injuries.
CMC's the only one that's staying healthy, man. It's crazy.
And that's crazy. For now, at least. We'll see what happens with him, but he's in the top 10 for receiving in the league so far, which is hilarious and just goes to show the state of the Niners, that McCaffrey has to be their running back 1 and their wide receiver 1. But I like the Rams. The 49ers they have a good record, right? They can handle being where they're at right now. I have 3-1, but I don't like the future for the 49ers. It could get scary. pretty
I
quickly.
think we all kind of expected the 49ers to have a good record at this point because they had a softer schedule. Like, that's one thing that I think we discussed pretty often.
And they have a soft schedule the rest of the way, too.
Yeah. But, I mean, they're 3-1, but the Seahawks are 3-1. The Rams are 3-1. The Cardinals are right there at 2-2. Like, after 4 weeks, this is a very competitive division. And if the 49ers could get left behind because of how depleted they are, their soft schedule is only going to take them so far. Especially, like, the Seahawks look really good. The Rams, if they win this one, that gives them an extra leg up on the 49ers. Like, that's a game and a half instead of just a game above the 49ers. So this is a big game for both teams, I would say. I think the 49ers do have, because of their schedule, have a little bit of an advantage. Like you said, they could lose this game and still be okay, but it's tight right now, and at some point somebody's going to have to break free, and I just don't see that team being the 49ers. Like, I think it's going to be a Seahawk-Ram race. That's the way it looks right now. Like. And I think the Rams...
Yeah, at some point, you still got to have players to play the game. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, you need 11 and 11.
They barely have anyone. So, I'm not sure what the timeline is on a lot of people. Obviously, Bosa's done for the season. Their GM, I forget his name.
John Lynch.
What's his name? John Lynch.
Hall of Famer.
Said Ayuk isn't even close to being ready.
Well, he had an
said that last
ACL,
week.
MCL. Ricky Pearsall's questionable this week with a PCL.
Yep.
Jawan Jennings questionable with an ankle. On IR, George Kittle's on IR.
I don't know. That toe is either got re-aggravated or something like that for Purdy. It's not healed.
Yeah.
So he's either going to have to play through that and potentially gets worse, or eventually they're going to have to, set him down for a little while. I mean, the team didn't look terrible with Mac Jones, but still,
there's a reason Purdy's a starter.
Mac Jones and I don't know if Mac Jones and the skeleton crew are going to get you through to where you want to be. So,
right.
I like the Rams. The Rams have looked good. Puka Nacua is insane.
I was really looking forward to the Nacua and Devontae Adams duo. I thought they had heading into the season, because Devontae Adams still has juice left. I think a lot of people seem to have forgotten, and I think you actually pointed this out in the offseason. Devontae Adams still has, he's still there, and he showed that last year. He was still that guy. He could be a number one, and that's why I was a big fan of the Rams heading into this season, because of that duo, and it's proving to be very lethal right now. And for the 49ers, they don't have anybody. And last week, I think a lot of their struggles, Purdy looked like a guy coming off of an injury. He looked okay at times, and then he made some mistakes. But also, hats off to the Jaguars defense, who has forced 3+ turnovers in every game this year. And then got into a pissing contest with Robert Saleh there at the end. But they got
that was interesting.
The Jaguars got their counter stallions, and Saleh called them out.
Yeah, I saw some people say that's what it was about, and it seems with comments made after the game by Saleh and Cohen, that's what it was about. But some people were speculating that maybe it was because at the end of the game, when the Jags were kneeling, and Fred Warner tries to jump over the line to strip the ball from Trevor Lawrence.
He got close. It was
he got close, but he got planted and rolled up on a lineman's ankle.
Yeah.
It's dude, you're trying to get people hurt on the kneel down. It's just kind of a, I don't know, it's just kind of a bush league play. I don't really I get it, but I don't really like it.
Yeah. There's other ways of doing it. I remember, I prefer teams do what Augie tried doing against Celine your senior year, where you just try swatting the ball as it's getting snapped.
Yeah.
I prefer that
or trying
method instead.
Yeah, or
jumping
when
over.
They try to catch the spike.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's
almost
a fine attempt.
Was that Jalen Carter or someone like that almost did that?
I think he did it once. Someone's done it one time recently.
He had it, but it bounced off his arms.
Did it? I thought he got one, or maybe someone got one. Maybe it was just close, but I think I didn't like it.
The other issue I think from like Salah's perspective with some of that was if Liam Cohen doesn't blow off the Buccaneers and ghost them, Salah's probably the head coach of the Jaguars, so he probably feels like it's probably a little bitter towards Liam Cohen because he expected to get that job until Cohen decided to come in. Because when there was that whole Cohen's going to stay in Tampa, it was Salah's job until Cohen decided, you know what, I'm going to Jacksonville.
Could be.
I don't know how much of a role that factored, and honestly, Salah can get a different job at a different time. Wouldn't be the first time that a Jets head coach has gotten a second chance. I'd like him enough to think that he can. But
I mean, I liked him going back to the Niners, but
yeah, it made sense. So, all right, I'm leaning Rams overall this week. Not to give away secrets for the pick'ems, but hey, I'm behind. It doesn't matter.
You need to catch up. I made up some ground this week.
You're back. I tried getting a little frisky this week. Like, all right, I think this could happen. And there was one that really bit me. I mean, there was a couple that bit me in the rear end. But there was, I don't remember who I picked that nobody else took that I'm watching. I think it might have been the Raiders-Bears.
I'm looking at it right now. You took Bears, but so did I.
Yep.
And you picked the Bucs
I would have
over
caught
the Eagles.
some ground. I'm so mad at myself for picking the Jets. I cannot believe I picked the Jets.
I can't believe I'm the only one that picked the Dolphins.
Like I thought I took the Dolphins, and then I looked in the third quarter. I'm like, no way.
Yeah,
no way.
That's the same exact thing I did with the Jags and the Niners. Like, I had it so ingrained in my head that I picked the Jags.
Yep.
And then I went to look at the pick'ems, and I was like, dude, there's no way.
I picked the Buccaneers this week, which was different than you guys. And that first drive, I'm like, yep, that was bad. That was not a good choice. Cam's the only one that took the Chiefs.
Took the Falcons, too. Isn't he the only one with the Falcons?
Maybe. Yeah. Like Dylan said, he was the only. It was fun. His picks this week were funny. Like, he was the only one to take a team that won, and then he was also the only one that took a team that lost. Like, he's the only one that took the Panthers and the Colts.
He took chances, but
he took the Chiefs.
Still only got 7 points.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of Cam, his Vikings head out to Cleveland, and this is going to be a disgusting battle. Like, just put this on like the CW network and.
Dylan Gabriel's starting for the Browns, right?
Is he? I didn't. I hope so.
You didn't see that?
He should.
I'm pretty sure that's what I saw today.
Yahoo Sports reported Dylan Gabriel is expected to start against the Vikings in Week 5. I didn't see Schefter or Rappaport tweet it out yet, but he should. The offense is not moving.
Cleveland says the same thing.
Okay.
Let's see. RG3. I don't know which
Reliable
one of these
source.
Are the reliable sources here, but it's looking like he could get a start. So
he should. That offense isn't moving at all. They are probably last in the league in
this is
offensive
probably
points
the
per game.
wrong week to throw him in there.
Maybe, but
the Vikings defense is, if nothing else, made to terrorize young quarterbacks.
Yeah,
you saw it get exposed by a veteran last week, right? The Steelers did all right, but Aaron Rodgers he's been around a while. I think he knows what he's doing.
He can diagnose stuff pretty quick.
The disguises and the shells and things that they do in coverage, I think have a greater effect on the younger quarterbacks than obviously the more experienced ones. So, as your first start, this is going to be a tough one. And the Vikings defense is just good talent-wise, but the scheme and how it's shown to a young quarterback, it's going to be tough for him. And I don't know if putting him in right now, because I don't think Flacco's injured, right? He's just bad.
No, but I'm looking at their totals. Like, they're 31st in the NFL in points per game, 30th in rushing yards, 20th in passing yards, which is fine, 27th in total yards per game, while the defense is first in total yards allowed per game, first in rushing yard, fourth in passing yards. Like, two teams totally on the opposite ends of or sides of the ball, on the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Opposite Cowboys.
Yeah.
Reverse Cowboys. Yeah, I mean, you have to do something, but this is a tough time to do it. Because I think the Vikings defense, like I mentioned, is a bad matchup for young quarterbacks.
It is, but, I mean, to be fair, Jackson Dart, his first career start was against an undefeated Chargers team. So,
That's true.
You just never know.
And their defense is pretty good as well.
And, like Cam was saying last week while we were having the discussion on, like, starting quarterbacks, I mean, at some point they do need live reps. So, like, as much as I am in favor of sitting a quarterback for as long as possible, the Browns have to do something because Flacco just isn't pushing the ball down the field, or it's just not good. He's not mobile. He's not athletic at all.
Maybe I'm just not ready for the calls for Shador immediately because he looks terrible against the Vikings.
So the Browns, I want to see win. Oh my God. All right, so they host the Vikings this week in London. So that sucks for them. And then they go to Pittsburgh. And then they host the Dolphins, go to the Patriots, go to the Jets. I'm curious on if Shador is going to be the quarterback for that Jets game. That's 4 starts, possibly, for Dylan Gabriel before they start. I mean, I think Kevin Stefanski's at a point where he's probably starting to think about his job. He shouldn't. I think he should be. He's a good head coach. It's just a bad situation that he's been put in. But at some point, it's like, all right, and that's just assuming Dylan Gabriel doesn't show anything. We don't know what he's going to look like or not look like. He could light it up. He's not going to light it up.
I don't know how long his leash is going to be. Not sure. Because you also don't know, like, maybe they don't really like Shador at all.
They might not.
What if they put Flacco back out there? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, it's going to happen either way. Even if Dylan Gabriel has, like, a pretty good game, like, you're still going to have, like, give Shador a chance. See what he can do. He would have lit up the Vikings.
When Dylan Gabriel inevitably looks like a rookie, there's going to be
that first interception happens.
Yep.
It's going to be
Shador. Vikings are 3.5-point favorites, which I expected to be higher, but then again, it's like, you know what? The Vikings aren't. They have Carson Wentz, who, against his Browns defense, I think this could be low score. The over-under, what do you think the over-under set at? This is FanDuel.
35.
35.5.
Oh, let's go.
That's clutch. It's crazy.
I mean, I believe it.
I don't expect these two offenses to light it up. The Vikings on paper should, but the Browns defense is a top 3 in the NFL. Yes. And I think Myles Garrett is going to feast on the Vikings offensive line.
Both the defenses of both teams are better than the offenses of both teams.
Yep.
So,
And it's
I
in
think
London.
it will be low scoring. I don't really know who's going to win necessarily. I would think that the Vikings probably do because one, they like the weapons are still there, right?
Yeah.
So you have
Still,
Justin Jefferson,
Addison's
you have
bad.
Jordan Addison. Jordan Mason's been playing good. Like Carson Wentz is not the worst player you've ever seen. He's not great.
He's a
but
capable
not the
backup.
worst. And the defense is pretty good, like we already talked about. And so with the Browns, like they might have one of the best defenses in the league, but unless Dylan Gabriel shows something else, like their offense is very bad.
Okay.
So hard to win games when you don't have an offense. They've done it though. They did against Packers somehow.
They did.
But
They did.
So we'll see.
They had an offense for 3.5 minutes, and that was just enough to beat.
That's all they needed.
That's all they needed. All right. So if you're thinking the Vikings win, do the Browns cover 3.5 or no? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I could see it being close, but I still think they win by like a touchdown.
Probably.
Like it's one where I could see like Justin Jefferson getting one late, or Dylan Gabriel making a critical mistake at the end that sets the Vikings up for a touchdown that extends. Like I could see something like that.
Yeah. It's really hard to tell, but I don't think they'll cover.
No, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. All right. The next one's our game this week. We do have another Party Chat Sports game this week. In New York, on the dreaded MetLife turf. R.I.P. to Malik Neighbors' knee, by the way.
That's the scariest part.
Yeah. Both defenses are terrible, Cowboys and Jets. It's just a matter of which offense can put up more points, and I trust the Cowboys to be able to do that. Like, I have no faith in the Jets to do anything ever again. I'm tired of putting faith into this freaking team.
You're gonna see some things from the Jets offense that you previously thought impossible.
We'll see.
Justin Fields will look like a Hall of Famer.
See, here's the thing. So, I was thinking about this earlier. The Cowboys, the game plan for beating the Jets is very easy. Tear up their defense because Steve Wilkes' ability to call a defense is not good. He doesn't adjust to anything. Sauce isn't looking good. The entire secondary doesn't look good. The linebackers are bad. The defensive line's bad. Everyone's bad. So just score points. And then if you want to stop the Jets' offense, load the box up because they're a run-first team, which means they cannot play from behind. Like, they get down 10 points, they're done. And just double cover Garrett Wilson because there's no other threat. Who else are you scared of on the Jets in the pass game?
No.
Nobody. So just double cover Garrett, load up the box, and they're good.
That's saying it is one thing, doing it is another. Because the Cowboys defense has shown that they cannot do anything.
Right, but also, I will say this. The Dolphins hadn't forced both teams, Jets and Dolphins heading into last night, hadn't forced a single turnover. They had 3. So it looks good for you guys.
Sometimes it just happens that way. I think the Cowboys will win. But I do think the Jets, like, it's not going to be lopsided, I don't think. Like, the Jets will definitely take advantage of the Cowboys defense. I mean, it has been terrible. It's like the worst ranked defense. The funny thing is that the run defense has been a little bit better than years past. And when you compare it to like our defense in 2020, which is when the last like abysmal defense we had was in 2020 when Dak got hurt and he had to throw for like 600 yards a game. The defense this year lets up fewer rushing yards, but more passing yards than that team, and it's some of the things you're seeing through 4 weeks of the season for the Cowboys defense is like hard to believe that a professional defense can be that bad. I mean, we just and people talk about it all the time. They talk about it on the TV, on the broadcast when the game's going on. They talk about it online. It's pretty much all zone. It's all zone. And there are obviously play calls, and if you have like a pulse at all as an offense coordinator, you have plays that are designed to beat zone. And the biggest problem is that the players that are playing the zone aren't even that good. So even if they were playing good zone defense, they're just not that good. Like if they're in the right spot, they're just not that good of a player anyways. So I think the Jets will look. I do think that Fields specifically, like we saw with Hurts and the Eagles, like Hurts was able to run pretty much wherever he wanted, right? And that's pretty much what killed the Cowboys against the Eagles week 1. They were cut. We don't really know what was happening in the secondary of the Eagles Cowboys game because the Eagles wide receivers and the passing game has been nowhere to be found, and the Cowboys pass defense has been terrible. So not really sure who was getting the advantage there. But either way, it resulted in Jalen Hurts running whenever he wanted, wherever he wanted, and we couldn't really do anything about it. And obviously that plays into Fields', best capabilities as a quarterback, is he'll likely be able to escape pretty often.
Yeah.
And just be dangerous as a runner. And there will be times when Garrett Wilson is open, for sure. Yeah. Obviously you can try to double them, but they're going to be in zone, and you're going to find a way to get him the ball. So we'll see. This will be a funny game to watch. It'll either be like 70, 80 points scored, or like 30 for some reason.
So the Cowboys heading into this game defensively, 32nd in total yards allowed, 32nd in passing yards allowed, 20th in rushing yards allowed, 31st in points allowed per game.
Good.
So, yeah, I think Justin Fields will be able to break a few out, but the invention of the forward pass was like 100 years ago, and Fields struggles with that ability. He had to, statistically, you'll look, if you're like Dylan and you just look at the if you're just stat
just a box score watcher.
Yeah, if you're just a box score watcher, it's like, oh, he had a good game. He really didn't. Those are a lot of those.
I mean, a couple of those throws to Garrett Wilson were pretty good.
Yeah, the one PI that was bullshit was definitely good, but I'm not going to get into refs and how they whatever. Yeah, my fear though, the Jets had the perfect game plan offensively going into Monday Night Football. They had 76 yards rushing on the opening drive, 10 rushes for 76 yards. They threw one pass. Braylon Allen scores, but he forgets to take the ball with him across the end zone. And at that moment, it was over. And then the Dolphins marched down the field for a 94-yard touchdown drive. So the Jets are down quick, 10-0, like that. And the Jets are not built to play from behind. They are we're going to run it down your throat, we're going to control the tempo type of game. And when they no longer control the tempo, GG's. So, as much as I love the Jets, my love for them is fading daily. I cannot stand to watch this team. I cannot stand rooting for this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be it's going to sorry to jump in there.
No, you're good.
It's going to have to be I think for the Jets, you're right. It will they can't afford many mistakes because
and that's the thing, we commit too many. And we don't.
The Cowboys' offense is clicking.
Yep.
Even without CD, even without our center, even without our starting right guard, the Cowboys. Dak had an unbelievable game against the Packers. That's probably a top 3 game of Dak's career, honestly. The Packers' defense had been one of the better defenses. Exactly. The Packers' defense had been one of the better defenses so far. It's only a few weeks into the season. But no CD, missing your center, missing your guard, right? and the defense is allowing everything under the sun.
Yeah.
That was a clinic by Dak, and
I do have
he
to
gets
give,
in these grooves.
Sorry.
He gets in these grooves, and he's dangerous. So
I do have to give a hats off to the offensive line and the game plan, though, for like essentially eliminating Micah Parsons. Like he was.
They did a good job.
They did a really good job.
On first, we're going to spend a lot of time on this game. On first watch, it seemed like Micah didn't do much, right? And he didn't really do a lot. And this is one of those things where, for edge rusher specifically, you get into those like box score watching.
Yep.
It's like, oh, Micah had that.
Where's the tackle? Like, there's nothing there. But
he had like 1.5 tackles or something like that, and that sack at the end of the game.
Did it count? Did it count as a sack?
They said it was a sack. It was,
I don't know if it
was a sack for 0 yards. It was like, whatever. But I think it technically counted as a sack. Okay. But anyways, he actually did have a good game. But you're right, he was generating pressure. But for the most part, the offensive line with huge question marks at tackle and then missing pieces on the interior were, for the most part, able to kind of mitigate his impact. But the biggest part was just the absolute clinic that Dak was putting on. You saw it multiple times where he either stepped up in the pocket to avoid the pressure, got the ball out quick enough to avoid the pressure. Like, this was a fantastic game to watch from that perspective. And you saw a lot of play calling and identifying the defense and a lot of audibles to beat certain coverages. It was a fantastic game to watch, and it is a shame that it ended in a tie.
Ties should be illegal. We need to do something to outlaw ties in this country. I don't care what it is. They need to be outlawed. Trump, get on this shit, okay? Eliminate ties.
I don't even know what you could do, right?
Put it in the next
obviously,
bill.
It was...
When you reopen the government, make it ties are legal, okay?
It was easier to avoid ties when it was sudden death, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they still happened, but it was more rare. But now both teams get a chance, and there's a time limit. They lowered the time limit too.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're going to give both teams a chance, to score a touchdown, you should make it a full quarter, I think. And then if you run out of time in that quarter, then you do a sudden death, where it's like maybe I don't know if you do the 2-point conversion, but maybe you give both, like the old college, where even the college football overtime rules now, where you give them inside the 25, and figure it out.
Yeah, something like that. Just
eliminate ties. This should not be happening.
But anyways, great game last week. I think you'll see similar things this week. Obviously, the Jets' defense is a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, Jets overall are a little bit worse than the Packers, but
yeah,
Cowboys are by no means some like powerhouse or anything like that. The Packers scored on every single drive after, in the second half. So
yeah,
there's points to be had.
There's
against the Cowboys defense.
And there's definitely points to be had against the Jets defense. Like George Pickens and Sauce, like they're both handsy players. Sauce is one of the most...
Should be a good matchup.
It should be. On paper, it's a good matchup. Just Saucy's last couple of weeks has not looked good. Like he had a good week 1, and then since then just hasn't looked like the highest paid player. Granted, nobody looks good enough to be the highest paid player on defense, but for the Jets. But he has not lived up to that contract after 4 weeks, I'd say. And when you are called for more holding penalties than anybody else and more pass interference penalties than most corners in the league, you can't be giving up touchdowns on 4th down to a tight end that ended his rap career to come back into the league. Like, that should be illegal as well. George Pickens is going to get a couple penalties call. Like, when Sauce is on him, I expect Sauce to get called for PI. I just do. It's going to happen. That or holding, because he's a very handsy player. He just is naturally. And that's what he's He's a sticky player. And the key, if the Jets have any chance of winning this game, you have to force a turnover. You have not. I don't think the Jets have forced a turnover. It was a couple games left, like going backwards. A couple games into last season was the last time the Jets have forced a turnover. They just don't. They don't fall on fumbles. They don't intercept the ball, and Dak is not going to make it easy for you to pick it off. Like, you're going to have to create and force turnovers in this game. I just don't see the Jets being able to do that. I expect Dak to carve us up. And then defensively, the Cowboys defense is going to bend over, but I don't know if the Jets are going to be able to take advantage. Once they get behind, the entire team suffers from, oh shit, here we go again mentality. The second you get behind, once you're down 10, once those mistakes happen, all it takes is one mistake and the entire team is like, same old Jets, here we go. And there's no leadership, really. It's a very young team. So you don't have guys, the rah-rah guys, or like the CJ Mosleys that used to be like, guys, let's get in this, we are fine. They don't have that. So when it is 10-0 and the Jets are trailing, that's when it's going to be over. I just don't see the Jets coming back from that. And I will say, so Aaron Glenn is in very terrible territory right now. He is the third head coach in Jets history, second or third, to start his tenure off 0-4. Aaron Glenn, or Adam Gase did it. I think Rich Kotite might have done it in the 90s. Gase's first win came against the Cowboys in the Darnold mono comeback game.
I don't like what you're saying here.
If Glenn loses, he's the first head coach in Jets history to start 0-5. And things get very scary when you start 0-5. Like, I don't think he's a one-and-done coach. I think Woody likes him enough to keep him around for a year. But if we're already having these conversations, it's not a good look. And he's come in preaching, we're not the same old Jets, where we had referees at practice to help eliminate penalties. The Jets are one of the most penalized teams in the league. And it's the slouchiness, the sloppiness. If it's not the same old Jets, it's worse. And Jets fans as a whole, understandably so, are not patient. When you have the longest playoff drought in Major League Sports, it makes the entire fan base grow impatient. So these next couple, I just don't know when the Jets' first win comes in the Aaron Glenn era. I don't think it's this week. And then you have the Broncos in London. I don't think it's then. Maybe the Bengals. But even then, that's like I don't know. So when does Aaron Glenn's first win come? And I'm really getting to the point with this team where it's just difficult to... It's a burden to watch these games. I do not look forward to it. I feel it's like a chore a lot of times. It's tough. Here's a list of things that have happened in Caleb Gill's life since the last time the Jets have made the playoffs. My balls have dropped. I started high school. I finished high school. I started college, graduated from college, moved to a state, moved back from that state, bought a house, and yet the Jets are no closer to making the playoffs or being a competent football team. And the emotional toll it takes, it makes every week my love for the sport dwindles. Like, seriously. The last couple of years have been rough. And I know I do a lot of bitching and complaining. And it's like, Gil, you're always negative. I don't have a choice. What's there to be positive about? I'm not going to be delusionally. I'm not going to delusionally.
Nothing to smile about. That's
a Jets fan in that meme. That's a Jets Facebook. I'm not going to delusionally believe that everything's just going to work out because I'm a fan. So that's my little tangent. We probably spent enough time talking about Cowboys-Jets.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games to get going. Let's fly through some of these. Giants-Saints. Saints are bad. At least they're competitive. Yep. I'll give them that. They're competitively bad. And that's fun. When you're a first-year head coach, Kellen Moore, you kind of want to see that. You just don't have the pieces there.
The Jets are competitively bad.
They're not. The scoreboard makes it look better than it really is when you're watching the games. The Giants with Jackson Dart, he didn't light up the box score, but he made the Giants look better offensively, at least at first. Like his mobility gave him an additional element, but then Malik Neighbors falls victim to the MetLife turf, and this is just going to be a bad game. I feel like we've got a lot of bad games this week.
I mean, without spending too much time on this, I think, like we said before, the Saints are going to win a game. The Giants did look better, but they're not. The Saints are favored
1.5, so they get that home team swing a little bit because you get. I can
definitely see the Saints winning the game. Yeah, I think it is 3. I could see the Saints winning this game, but at the same time, the Giants did look not good, but I mean, they beat a good team in the Chargers. The Chargers looked great up until that point. So
I think that's just the NFL sometimes, though. Sometimes you get this weird jolt of like energy, and you get like a win that you probably shouldn't, and a team that should wins loses these random games. Like that's just the NFL. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I think I mentioned this on the Monday morning drive this week. It is still the top 1% of players in that can play football that are in this league. So they're still competitive. It's not like Alabama playing Chattanooga, Tennessee every week. Like these are two. It's always going to be two teams that get with players that are paid to play, which means they're good enough to be in that top 1%. So you'll have these random games where a team that on paper shouldn't win does win, and a team that should win doesn't. It just happens in this sport. That's why you don't have teams that go undefeated and completely defeated. Because, like I said, Saints are bound to win one, at least. I could see them winning this week. I don't know if I'm going to pick them yet.
Oh, I don't think I'm going to pick them. But I would
be like a Sunday morning decision. That'll be like a Sunday morning decision. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think I can pick the Saints to win any game this year.
Until they do win, I don't think you can pick them to win. Personally,
even still, like we've been saying, they're gonna win, but it's probably gonna be a game that you don't expect them to win.
Right?
Because we've said this in seasons before, podcasts before. It is a week-to-week league a lot of times. Like, you play 100%. 1 week and look dominant, you come out the next week and you can barely move the football.
Absolutely.
It's things change quick.
Like the Panthers and the Dolphins at times, which is our next game. Dolphins,
exactly.
Bad team. They were able to get together. What really sucked for the Dolphins was Tyreek Hill was looking good before he obliterated his leg. Out for the year. Yeah. I do think the Dolphins win this game, though.
So was the Tyreek smiling because
he was smiling everywhere? He was smiling on his way to... You see the one in the back of the ambulance?
In the ambulance? That's hilarious that someone saw that. But yeah, I'm curious because I don't know. Was that what he was smiling about?
Dude was so doped up, probably. Like, they probably had him on such extreme painkillers that he's just like, what's up, man?
In the ambulance, maybe. But he was doing it on the cart. I imagine they didn't administer any drugs on the cart. Adrenaline probably plays into it, shock, things like that. Because that's a bad injury. We'll see if he's ever the same after that, really.
That's when I saw that, I'm like, He's already starting to fall off a cliff a little bit. I don't know how he
And
comes
for a
back from
player
that.
who relies on speed and agility and acceleration, that's huge. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But
and
yeah,
that's
for
that's
him
a
to be
multiple
smiling and
injury
clapping
surgery.
and cheering,
Yep.
it was it's kind of funny. It just kind of shows.
And then did you
state
see
of
the Tua
Dolphins.
quote
Just,
post game?
was it the one about
all
God
glory
got us
belongs
through
to
safely?
God for keeping us safe for the most part.
Yeah. Other than our teammate whose leg just
For the most
disintegrated,
part.
but other than that, yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think
that's
the
funny.
Panthers are bad. They're a
I mean,
bad team unless they're playing the Falcons.
Panthers again. They annihilate the Falcons and then get annihilated by the Patriots.
Who knows? Dolphins favored. I think Dolphins are the better team. They just are.
I think so.
In my Colts Raiders. Colts were handed their first loss this past week. The Raiders. Geno has looked so bad, and I've been the biggest Geno defender here at Party Chat Sports for a long time. He looks bad, and I was excited to watch him with this Raiders group. A lot of it is the offensive line. The offensive line plays a huge role. Ashton Genty not being able to get going until he finally rediscovered the Michael Myers stance, which he actually rediscovered last week, not this past week, but the week before. People didn't notice because he didn't go off, but Geno just doesn't look good.
I'm really surprised. I thought the Raiders would be better.
I thought they'd be competitive.
I thought Geno would be better, just like you said. But I think a lot of it is the offensive line. The offensive line is so bad. Before this last game, when Genty went off, he was what was he averaging?
It was
Negative
his yards after
before contact.
His yards after contact was 101%.
Yeah, and the yards
Like,
before contact was negative.
Yeah,
That is
101% of his 101% of his yards, or something like that, came from after contact.
And I saw in the last game where he went off, the yards before contact was 0.7, which is obviously better than negative, but over the course of a normal, over the course of a normal year, that's bottom of the league yards before contact. That's still, it's better than negative, obviously, but it's still terrible.
Yeah.
So the offensive line it's not good enough, especially for a quarterback like Geno. I'm not going to say I know all of his, performance under pressure stats and things like that, how he handles it, but I can't imagine it's too well. Most quarterbacks outside of the elite don't handle pressure very well.
Yeah.
And when you're just constantly getting bombarded by the defense, and with an offensive line that bad, most of the time the defense can just rush for and generate pressure and mess things up and still have 7 in coverage, and that's extremely hard to deal with.
So Geno, that was one of my worries with him leaving Seattle. They had a bad offensive line, and Geno handled it really isn't this year, had handled pressure better than Sam Darnold. So I'm I don't know how well of a change that's going to be. Turned out to be a really good decision by the Seahawks. For the Colts, let's take a minute to talk about them. Daniel Jones, I think, will still be fine, but he looked more like the Daniel Jones we expected to see at times. With them, it's just feed Jonathan Taylor and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
It's the Jonathan Taylor show.
I don't think anyone should have really expected Daniel Jones to have transformed into some amazing quarterback.
It was a fun story for 3 weeks.
I think he could still be better than he was on the Giants. But he's not magically great now.
Or quarterback.
Yeah. But the Colts are still a good team. They played a good defense in the Rams, right? And they still had a chance. And couple plays like we talked about earlier go a different way. You hang on to the ball instead of throwing it out of the back of the end zone while you're running in. And maybe it's a different outcome. But it's not. They lost. But as you said, Jonathan Taylor looks fantastic. The Rams kind of kept him in check, but they've been doing that all season so far. The Colts are still a good team. Until they start dropping a few of these games, I still believe in the Colts. Kind of scaring me on my Jaguars, division winner pick, but we'll get to them in a little bit. But
we will.
Yeah, Colts are still a good team.
They are. Speaking of good teams, Eagles. Don't know how they managed to win that game when you do not complete a single pass in the second half. We'll see how that works out against the Broncos, who pretty much destroyed the Bengals last night as well on Monday Night Football. This one isn't. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this. The Bengals just are not a good team right now. They have a lot of issues. Joe Burrow wouldn't even save this team, I don't think. And the Eagles.
You're talking about the Bengals. We're talking about the Broncos.
I saw a B and my dyslexia kicked in. Thank you.
No problem.
Broncos took care of business. And
yes,
I still don't think they're good enough to beat the Eagles. Which doesn't make sense because the way the Eagles win games, they should be able to win games.
It's interesting because
they're like a bottom 10 offense, bottom 10 defense, and yet they are the only teams left undefeated, if not the only team left undefeated.
The Eagles, Saquon has not been dominant like he was last year. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been world-beating. They cannot complete passes consistently, whether that's by design or whether they can't actually do it for some reason. I'm not sure. Still undecided on that. Their defense is good, but not great. There's some serious, issues in the secondary there. So it is so interesting how they're not dominating these games, right? But they're winning, and it seems like they don't have to try super hard.
It's like the Chiefs last year.
Exactly. They do what needs to be done in these one possession games to win.
Yep.
And that will catch up at some point, most likely. Obviously, that didn't really catch up to the Chiefs last year until the Super Bowl. But again, they made the Super Bowl doing the same thing. Yeah,
they won the AFC.
So, the Eagles, I think they'll beat the Broncos because I have questions still about the Broncos offense and Bo Nix specifically.
Yep.
But now that I'm thinking about it, the Broncos' O-line is built to handle the Eagles' defensive line. They should have more success than some other teams that they've gone up against. But we'll see. But the Eagles, unfortunately, are probably the best. If you had to pick one, they're probably the best team in the league.
And they shouldn't be.
Because they keep winning. But I expect
on paper,
there
not.
To be
on paper, the way that they're winning, they're not. Yeah. Speaking of offensive lines, the worst offensive line in the league, one of the worst offensive lines in the league, heads to Baltimore. And what the Texans are doing, no idea.
Traded away an offensive lineman.
Yeah, they traded away another offensive lineman. What are we doing here? You don't have anyone. Why'd you trade?
I'm curious about that. I don't know what they could possibly be doing there.
They are 1.5-point favorites, and I think a lot of that has to do with Lamar probably not going to be in this game.
Yeah.
He has a hamstring injury. It smells like
interesting.
I think I texted in the chat. It smells like bullshit, but maybe my senses are off.
It felt weird at the time, but I don't think if it wasn't real, you would keep him out.
I don't know.
No.
There's a lot of conspiracies and all that now.
But at 1-3, you're in danger. Your season is in danger.
Yeah.
So if Lamar is healthy enough, you got to throw him out there.
Yeah.
Because you're like Cooper Rush. He did okay for the Cowboys, but 1-3, your season is teetering already. And you're throwing Cooper Rush out there? We'll see. I don't know. I'm curious. Are there any Baltimore fans calling for Cooper Rush to be the starter long term?
All of them.
We'll see.
They're all hopping off the Lamar train. That
Cooper Rush season.
Tyler
Huntley's back on the team, isn't he?
Yeah. Why not start the Pro Bowler?
Here you go. He might see some play time. We'll see. But Texans are trying to make their team worse somehow. I still think with Lamar out and with how bad the Ravens defense has been for some reason, I think the Texans probably win this game. I don't really know what the Ravens go from here.
I don't either.
We'll see.
And the Steelers are about to host a playoff game.
Classic Mike Tomlin season. Classic.
I sent the Dokes gif from Dexter in the chat. I know Mike Tomlin had something to do with all these Ravens injuries because they had 10 injuries last week as well. It wasn't just Lamar. It was Ronnie Stanley, Raquan Smith. They had 10 injuries. So I sent I know Mike Tomlin has something to do with that. I just can't prove it. Just can't prove it.
This is voodoo magic. And the Ravens are in trouble.
They are. Titans are in trouble
NFC
for
North.
NFC North what?
Not the NFC. The
AFC.
Just real quick. The AFC North outside of the Steelers have 3 combined wins?
Yeah, something like that.
So not exactly what we were expecting. Although maybe we should have expected it. The Bengals always do this. We'll talk about that. But the Ravens, man, it's crazy.
Ravens are so disappointing, man. Speaking of disappointing, Titans. If you're a Titans fan, I'm sorry. But you do have something in Cam Ward. I do very highly believe that Cam Ward's a guy. Just everyone else, the other 52 players are not. And they are one of the most poorly coached teams in the end. I'm surprised as we're sitting here on September 30th that more fans are not calling for Brian Callahan's head. They are back-to-back weeks where there's been quotes about the work ethic or the Titans just being bad. Against the Colts, I think it was Pierre Desir. Who was it? One of the Colts DBs. It might not have been Pierre Desir. I don't even know if Pierre Desir is still there. One of the Colts DBs, that might have just aged me a little bit, said that during warm-ups, the way that the Titans were moving around, you could tell oh yeah, we have this in the bag. They had no energy. Coaching. And then when your starting quarterback says, to keep it a buck, we ass. Says a lot.
Yeah, it's bad. And it's unfortunate, too, because I do think Cam Ward has shown some signs of being, there could be something there.
But he's about to have another offensive coordinator. You already know he's going to have another offensive system he's going to have to learn.
Yeah, he's going to have a new head coach. He's going to have a new offensive coordinator. The good thing is that they're projected to get a good player in the draft.
You're probably going to have the number 1 overall pick again, or right up there, top 5.
You could swing. You could swing a trade if you don't.
Honestly, with enough teams desperate enough for quarterback, like the Saints, the Jets, you get somebody desperate enough.
Steelers.
If they fall in love. Steelers.
John Mateer, number 1 overall.
He's going to return. I'm manifesting that to piss Dylan off.
But we'll see. I mean, it always happens, right? Quarterback goes into a bad situation. It's really hard to learn anything in that kind of environment. Hopefully he can stick it through. I like Cam Ward. I think he could be good, but we'll see.
My fear is he learns a lot of bad traits.
Yeah, and that's what happens.
The Cardinals are 8.5-point favorites in this one. I don't really have anything to say on the Cardinals. You being the local Arizona guy, if you want to speak on them real quick.
A lot of Cardinals fans are mad. Not mad necessarily, but they're very upset, disappointed with their run game.
It's Cardinals, a no-show.
Cardinals last year, maybe the last 2 years, have been technically one of the better running offenses in the league. James Conner had last season, I think he got pretty good recognition, at least some recognition for being the lead back in a good rushing offense. But that has been, obviously, James Conner got hurt, but even before he got hurt, it was nowhere the same as it was before. And there's a few things that have caused that, right? The offensive line, for the most part, is the same as it has been. But new offensive line coach, you lost Clayton Adams, who's on the Cowboys now, who are coincidentally maybe not coincidentally, running the ball much better. And the Cardinals are now running the ball much worse. On top of that, the Cardinals passing offense has not taken another step like it was supposed to. So all that to be said, a lot of disappointing things with the Cardinals, lots of disappointing things, but they're still keeping their games close and competitive. They're still a competitive team. And I think they should be able to handle the Titans. The defense is solid, but not great, but not terrible. It's somewhere in the middle, which is probably good enough to play against the Titans. But a lot of disappointment in the Cardinals for a lot of reasons. I think you'll see some big changes coming in the offseason, at least as big as you can. So. Get a new quarterback. So
yeah, the Seahawks did get a new quarterback, and Sam Darnold looks. I love it. It looks so good there in Seattle. I said it last week. I'm allowed to cheer for Sam Darnold now, again, and I'm going to. Him and Jackson Smith and Jigba look good. And then on the other side, Baker with Emeka Ibuka. Like, that's an offensive rookie of the year candidate right there. He had ripped off a 70-plus yard touchdown against the Eagles. This should be a fun, exciting game, I think. In Seattle, the Buccaneers coming off their first loss of the season. Who's favored? Seahawks are favored 3-point favorites. So pretty
this should
close.
Be a good game. I'm surprised. I did not think Sam Darnold was going to be very good.
I did.
Seattle.
And
I thought the offensive line was, like you mentioned before, I thought the offensive line was going to be an issue. And I did, kind of believe that Kevin O'Connell was masking a lot of the, problems in Sam Darnold's game. But maybe he just fixed some elements of Sam Darnold that can continue in other areas.
Maybe.
But we'll see. Like you said, still a lot of season to go. And as we saw even last year with Sam Darnold, like he made it pretty much 16 games until he started to unravel. So we'll see how long he can keep it up in Seattle. If he can keep it up, they look really good. The defense is pretty good.
Division.
They could. The defense looks pretty good. It's not the best defense ever, but they've been solid. I know there's a lot of Seattle fans and otherwise taking a look at Tariq Woolen, who has been pretty bad so far, but overall the defense is pretty solid, and that's to be expected when you have a defensive head coach.
Too.
Yeah,
I think Witherspoon comes back.
Maybe even this week, either this week or next week or something like that. But
the Buccaneers they're a solid unit on defense, on offense. I could see this being one of the better games of the week. Ultimately, I don't know who's going to win yet. I'll make my pick probably Saturday. But a lot of it
should be fun.
It should be fun, to say the least. All right. We're having fun here, but we're already at past an hour, so we've got 4 games left. Lions, Bengals. I already ran it on the Bengals because I had them wrong. Yeah, it's going to be much like that Browns-Lions game. Except this time it's in Cincinnati. It's outdoors. It's outdoors. Jared Goff he plays a lot better indoors than he does outdoors.
That's
so
true.
Statistically speaking, it's not going to be nearly as good.
It might look like the Dolphins-Broncos game from, what was that, 2 years ago?
The 70-point offensive.
Yeah. I don't know. Bengals are just so
See, now
bad.
you're doing it too. Except
you got me flipped up. You got me switched. The Bengals are just so bad. And it's surprising because Jake Browning had shown like
he could be a
glimpses of being a good backup. And the offensive line is again, and it's amazing that we have to keep coming back to this same point for a lot of teams. The offensive line is so bad that you just can't do anything. They can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball. The defense was obviously already bad, so they can't stop anybody. Like it was a bad team. And you were kind of getting into this earlier. Like even with Joe Burrow, they're still in a bad spot.
Yeah, They're poorly
they
coached.
probably win, an extra game here and there, but the team is not good enough.
No. No. And the offensive line issue, that's a whole issue league wide. Like, you should not be one injury away from being a good unit to being a bad unit. Like, it should not be one injury that, like, oh, well, our line's cooked. Like, I don't know. There is no development of offensive linemen. I feel like that starts at the college level. Like, they're just not good enough in college. And I don't know if it's like they're transferring a lot, so they're not getting settled. They're not learning the same thing. Like, if they're just constantly on the move. I don't know what the issue is, but it feels like offensive line play is getting worse, while everything else is getting better in some aspects.
Yeah,
especially
just real quick. I think there's a couple things to that. I don't know that the recruits and like the players coming out of college are any worse, but I think it's Jeff Schwartz. I don't know if you see him on Twitter.
Yep.
Former offensive lineman. Take a step back. Sam Munson of the Check the Mic podcast, or I listen to, formerly PFF podcast, said the same thing. Like, there needs to be better development for offensive line because it is becoming a problem. And the thing that Jeff had to say to that was, with a lot of the changes to the way teams, are allowed to practice nowadays, there's a lot less practice and pads time, which is really the only way for offensive linemen to get better. Like, I remember you go to like camps and things like that as an offensive lineman, you go through like early summer practices and you're just, in your shirt and shorts. Like, it is a completely different feeling trying to block someone who's just in a shirt and shorts than someone in full pads. It's completely different. I always hated it. I would much rather block in pads than anything else. And so there's less practice for these guys to get the feel. And also, it takes offensive linemen a lot of times. Obviously, the elite ones coming out are pretty good right away most of the time. But sometimes it takes offensive linemen, similar to defensive linemen, it takes a few years to get used to it, especially if like you see like right tackles becoming left tackles and flipping sides,
switching assignments.
It's harder than you think. It's not just I'm now on the left, I'm now on the right, whatever.
Well, it's not as easy like just switching it to Madden.
Practice.
It's not like just Madden where you can switch it to left guard and
you
you're still an 83 overall. Like, you're still
you can't just flip around. You can't just make your backup left tackle a center just because, and then he does just fine. Yeah, it's a harder position than a lot of people think, and they're getting less practice.
Yeah. Lions 10.5-point favorites. The Chargers 2.5-point favorites at home against the Commanders. Chargers coming off their first loss. I'm sure Madison Beer is going to be in the building there in LA, so give me the Chargers by 1 million.
Is Jaden?
I don't know. I knew you were going to ask. Jaden Daniels. He's expected to play, but there's been no official announcement.
We'll see.
If he plays,
Chargers,
I think,
are still a good team. The problem now with the Chargers is you already had Slater out, and now Joe Alt is out.
Yeah, losing Joe Alt, that was everybody talked about Malik Neighbors getting hurt, as they should, but Joe Alt also going out in that game kills the Chargers. And, I mean, all this talk about offensive line play, we'll see how the Chargers' offensive line looks now.
Yep, exactly. So
I mean, there's still, if they can play the quick game, like quick passes, and are effective that way to where you eliminate the pass rush, if you're able to get it out in 2 seconds. But we saw last week against Titans, the Texans gave up a sack in 0.1 second. So sometimes you can't even get 2.
Yeah, I mean, this has the elements of a good game, but we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see who's playing and how the injuries of last week impact.
And the Commanders traveling across the country too. Like, there's always going to be an effect that takes. I think it's usually harder though for the West Coast teams to go to the East Coast. This is an East Coast team going West Coast, so not as big of an issue on the body, but still something that it's not the same thing. It's not your same routine. I ultimately think the Chargers are the better team and will win this game. Patriots, Bills, Patriots. They were fine last week, but the Bills are a Super Bowl contender.
Didn't they smoke the Panthers?
Yeah, 42-14, I think. I think the Patriots will play the Bills tough.
I'm surprised the Patriots have the capacity to score that many points.
Me too. And it was 7-6 after the first quarter. They scored 21 points in the second, and that is what set them apart. Bills are 8.5-point favorites. I like that for the Bills because, again, they're just better. I think the Patriots do play tough. It could be competitive for 3 quarters. And that's how it was against the Saints. The Bills were bad for 3 quarters, good enough to be ahead, and then they just broke away in the fourth. I kind of think we get that same formula here this week.
The Bills like to lose some games that they shouldn't, though.
And it's a division opponent.
I think and that goes with a lot of teams. I think we say this pretty often. You're going to lose a game that you shouldn't. This is a game that the Bills shouldn't lose, and we saw it last week with the Saints, right? Like you already mentioned, they struggled when they shouldn't have.
You and Dylan were clinching.
We were, because we were like, hey, in our Survivor, we were like, hey, let's just pick the Bills. There's not a lot of great matchups here. We picked some not great teams early on, so we can use some of our good teams as needed. And they're struggling with the freaking Saints, man. It was like, all right, this is how we're going out. But obviously they got the win. They've been winning all year. I expect them to keep winning, but they're not going undefeated. They're due at some point.
Well, we were saying the Chiefs were due to not make the Super Bowl for years, and we'll see what they do this year. But that it's still you can't pick against the Chiefs until they actually lose.
I didn't say nothing of the sort. I said the opposite.
You can't. Oh. You have to be able to. I don't know where I was going with that. Chiefs, Jaguars, Monday Night Football in Jacksonville. And like I mentioned earlier, the Jaguars defense, 3+ turnovers are forcing per game. The Chiefs finally looked like the offense that we expect of the Chiefs. When you think of Chiefs, you think offense. That was a weird hiccup. Apparently, my body didn't want me to get out what I'm about to say. I'm going to do it anyways. The Chiefs, they haven't looked like what we've expected them to look like the last year and a half or two. They finally did last week. I don't know if they replicate that against the Jaguars. The Jaguars defense is going to be a very tough matchup for the Chiefs.
How fitting for the Chiefs to finally put some things together against the Ravens. That's the boogeyman for all the top AFC teams the last however many years.
Yep.
And they show some weakness, they show some cracking, and just like clockwork, they dismantle what was thought to be one of the better teams in the AFC. Obviously, still some things to learn about the Ravens, the Chiefs, and really the league as a whole. I mean, we're 4 games in, but there's still a lot of football to be played, a lot of things to change. But for the Jags, it's a good thing that their defense has been pretty good up to this point because the offense really hasn't. You see some good flashes from Travis Etienne showing signs of life again after I think 2 years of pretty bad play. And so that is helping the Jags. Brian Thomas is not. I think there's a couple things going on, right? I think Brian Thomas is
doghouse.
He's in a Waldron offense, which is bad. I think he's probably getting a little bit of mental into it now. because he's in kind of a slump. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been great. He might not have even been good. But they're still winning games. So at some point.
Yep. At some point that either catches up with you or it doesn't. The lack of Travis Hunter has been interesting. Like, he was the second overall pick. And he was going to play both sides of the ball. And technically he has played both sides, but he really hasn't gotten a lot of snaps consistently on either side.
He made a great catch last game. I don't know if you saw it.
And he's not getting targeted a lot, but I did see that.
I think, again, with the Jags, it's kind of weird. I think there's a lot of things going on. One, the offense, the way it's run, which is kind of surprising considering Cohen is there and what he was supposed to bring.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes. But one, I don't think the offense is being run how it's supposed to be run. I don't think the wide receiver, like Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas themselves, haven't been that great. But on the same hand, Trevor Lawrence hasn't been that great. So there's a lot of factors playing into it that either it's going to catch up to them in the bad way and they're going to start losing games because of it, or I think the potential is still there for them to figure something out and you start to see Brian Thomas be better. You start to see Travis Hunter used more effectively, and you start to see Trevor Lawrence performing a little bit better. I think it's possible.
Just think, they're 3-1 right now, and they haven't been able to utilize their offensive weapons. Kind of scary.
Not a bad spot to be.
All right. Well, I think let's just wrap this up. That was your Week 5 preview with Gill and Drew here this week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking this out. I did one last thing. I was kind of thinking of this when you mentioned, like, we don't know who teams are yet. If you look at teams, or if you look at the NFL schedule as quarters, and I know I already said that we're done with the first quarter, everything can change like that. I mentioned the score of the Panthers-Patriots game. That game was 7-6. Uncompetitive, or tight. We'll call it tight. Not a lot of offense. Not really great. And then that second quarter, the Patriots go off and score 21 points. We'll see, as we start this second quarter of the NFL season, who's going to be the team that scores 21 points in that quarter and completely lights it up here these next couple weeks, and who craps the bed. And then that's going to start telling us, once we get to the halfway mark, we'll have better understanding of who these teams are. And then we'll start getting closer to, all right, are they legit playoff contenders? Are they wild card? Are they Super Bowl contenders? So a lot of football to be played, but I think this next batch of games is going to start telling us a lot about who these players are and who these teams are. And I'm excited for that. So make sure you stay tuned here at Party Chat Sports. We'll keep you up to date with everything going on our Twitter page, but Monday Morning Drive, Parlay of the Week, and then, of course, your weekly previews. Drew, any final thoughts?
Go Cowboys.
Yeah. Go team, go. Be an interesting week. And we'll talk about it on the Monday Morning Drive next week in a little bit when we preview Week 6. Stay tuned. Check us out anywhere and everywhere. All at Party Chat Sports. Until next time, peace.
See ya.